Okay. It is in terms of my personal utility. Okay. I get more utility by lying in a beanbag, getting stoned and drinking fine wine while listening to the Beatles than I do by going to the gym. Okay. Okay. So does that mean that lying in a beanbag, getting stoned, drinking wine and listening to the Beatles is how I should develop over time? Okay. No, I'll have a body that looks like a beanbag in rapid succession. I'd be better off going to the gym, balancing the two. Gym 3 days a week, then the couch routine 1 day a week. So allocating existing resources more efficiently, in other words, in terms of your utility, is not the way you develop over time. And this is a very profound mistake which permeates economic theory in general, not just MMT, and that is what's called the ergodic fallacy. Have you heard of the ergodic?
Ergodic? E-R-G-O-D-I-C?
That's the one, yeah.
I've heard of ergodic, but I've never heard of the fallacy, so no, I don't know.
Well, the fallacy is that the world is ergodic.
Okay.
That's the fallacy. Okay? Because, the definition of ergodic, can you hit me with your definition of ergodicity?
I'm not going to be able to do it, no.
Okay, well, I'll do it back. I wanted to give you, in case we had a difference there. Mathematically, an ergodic system is one where the average across space is the same as the average across time. Okay. Now, that's hard for most people to comprehend, but what it means in practical terms is that if a system is ergodic, then rather than having to work out the really complicated issue of what happens to it over time, you can just take the average at a point in time and take probabilities.
Okay.
So you can substitute probability analysis for complicated dynamic analysis. Okay?
So sort of like cross-sectional versus longitudinal?
Yeah, cross-sectional versus through time. Yeah. And it's a very common assumption in economics that that's okay. Okay. We all do it all the time. So if you look at the advice that's given in a finance textbook and they set up the questions about expected returns and so on, they'll give students problems like this. I'm going to give you, here's you gamble $100, and if you get heads and a coin toss, you get 150. If you get tails, you get 60. Work out the expected value and tell me whether you should do the experiment or take the gamble or not. Now, you want to do it, or shall I on that one?
Go ahead. I don't do arithmetic when the camera's
simple.
On me.
It's simple. 50% of 150 is 75. Right. 50% of 60 is 30. 75 plus 30 is 105. You've gambled 100. You're $5 ahead. The textbook would fail you, or the teacher, the exam would fail you if you didn't give that answer in a standard economics or finance course. And it's wrong, because it works if you can actually do the bet across space. Okay. But the reason you're asking the question is, I want to know how to maximize my value over time. Okay. So you're thinking, really complicated to work through time. I'll just take the space average. And then if the space average is positive, that's the good thing to do over time. Now you can, in that coin toss example, work out the time average in a simple example, because if you put the space average is you bet $100 at a point in time, and you do it like you have like a $1 each on 100 tables. You put $1 down, $1.50, 60 cents, bang, the whole lot. You get it $105. You come out ahead. Okay? That's across space. You then say that's going to apply through time too. No, it's not, because imagine now you put $100 down on one table, and you bet everything you get out of the gamble in the next gamble. So you toss a head, you get 150. You put that into the bid. You toss a tail, you get 90, because you're getting not the arithmetic average, which is what you work across space, but the geometric average. Yep. Okay, so if you tossed 50 consecutive pairs of heads and tails, you would end up with 72 cents from your $100. Basically, wipe yourself out.
So the listeners of this podcast, Steve, will know this because I went through. I've done some consulting for Mark Spitznagel. And this is a big thing. He's got a book that hits this, and I exaggerated the numbers just to make it even simpler. This is there's actually a great new book I can just recommend. That's been produced by the experts on this topic. Okay, great.
Ole Peters. That's great. That's come out of their argument there. And the point is, you can't use expected value as a way of working out what's going to maximize your money over time. In fact, then it's interesting to use what's called the Kelly formula.
Yep.
And I imagine people are familiar with that. So. What economists are doing, this is both modern monetary theory and also neoclassicals with the idea of comparative advantage, is saying, because if you allocate things more efficiently across space, that's the best development process for you over time. No, it's not.